So I think we should just like jump right into the questions.
Sounds good.
Um, so for the first one, so how does it feel to have the students back in the building, to have them back at school?
It's really nice to have them back. It's exciting. I think some of them are a little surprised at just how enthusiastic the adults are to see them because we're just like, "Oh!" And they're like, look, Dr. Howard, I haven't seen you in 8 months. Why are you this excited? And it's like, because we love you guys and we love seeing you. And so it's very exciting. But then it's also kind of the flip side of the coin is that the responsibilities are different. And so we have to make sure that we are checking all the boxes to keep everybody safe and on track with their learning.
What are the safety precautions that you guys put in place to keep the teachers and the students safe in the building?
First thing, every person who enters the building gets their temperature checked. The adults are responsible for checking their own temperature and signing in when they come in the building. Students, they get their temperatures checked by adults, and everyone wears a mask. The students have actually been phenomenal with wearing masks. They're, every now and then someone will forget to put it back up over their nose after they, had a sip of their water. But most kids are doing a really, really good job of keeping their masks on all day long. Everyone is at least 6 feet apart. In some spaces, they're even, 10 spaces apart, 10 feet apart or more. Building services has changed some of their processes with things called like building flushing, which is basically just moving air through the school in a different way so that, any potential pathogens aren't just kind of hanging out in the air. So that's kind of, it's a building services thing that kids and teachers may not necessarily think about, but it's going on all day. Hand sanitizer and wipes all the time when we hand out breakfast and lunch because they're free right now for all kids. Anybody who has any possible sign of like, say, a sniffle, I mean, even if it's just, we think it's allergies, right? The nurse consults with them. She'll come to them and talk through like what's been going on. If there's even a hint of anything, then the student gets sent home and, and encouraged to have a conversation with their doctor.
It seems quite like complicated and like there's just a lot of stuff to do in between keeping them like safe and like distanced and like not quarantined, but like, safe from each other, and also having them in that space where they can learn together as if they were actually like in a normal class like last year.
Well, see, that's what's interesting is that a lot of kids don't necessarily realize that in this stage, in stage 3, sometimes we'll joke about calling it COVID school because we're not quite in like regular school yet. So like they're not actually, kids who are in the building are not moving from class to class. They pretty much sit in one place all day long, which if we're being honest, so are most of the kids who are virtual at home, right? They're sitting on their bed all day long doing their work, right? So in this case, they just happen to sit in a place that has a little bit more reliable internet. And typically, except for yesterday when the power went out in the afternoon because of all the wind, but that was a fun little challenge. But and then they get help from administrators and learning coaches to kind of work through their assignments that they have now. Anything that they're missing from last year, we help them with that too.
So the learning coaches that are here at Albemarle High School are here to support kids, to help them get caught up, to help them come up with a schedule so they can get their work done, to support them if they need help, they have questions, and basically just to help the kids get taken care of.
I support them in any way possible from the standpoint of getting online, making sure they do have their internet connection, as well as if they need help with certain subjects or working with catching up on last year's work, and just keeping them busy and making sure they stay focused. And these kids here are just awesome, wanting to learn, and it's been a true pleasure, and it's an honor to be able to work with this program that we have here.
It's a good team. We have a great team of adults here, and I think that a lot of kids and maybe even some teachers don't necessarily realize what goes on in the background, which is good because then it means that they're able to focus on learning, on teaching and learning, and that's what we really want people to be able to do.
And I think we're doing really well in comparison to what we were at the beginning because we weren't sure what we were in for, but it's worked out to where it's now the students are really producing quite a bit of work.
What's next? What do you guys think that phase 4 is gonna look like? Do you guys like know at like like when phase 4 could start? Is that like a
I think after Christmas, the conversations about what stage 4 will look like, that will, those will kick more into gear. But yeah, right now we're definitely focusing on getting stage 3 as good as it can be.